You're in a room full of people and you've never felt more alone. Not lonely in the way that makes you reach for your phone. Alone in a way that has no fix. No text message will touch it. No conversation will reach it. It's a silence underneath everything. And you can't explain it to anyone because the moment you try, it sounds like you're just complaining about not having enough friends. But that's not what this is. This isn't about being by yourself. It's about being separate, fundamentally disconnected, like everyone else got the manual for how to be with other people, and yours was written in a language you can't read. The World Health Organization calls loneliness a global epidemic, as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But here's what they don't tell you. This isn't just a social problem you can solve by going to more parties or joining more group chats. This is existential loneliness, and it's not about missing people. It's about missing connection to life itself. Once you see it, you can't unsee it, but understanding it changes everything. The World Health Organization calls loneliness a global epidemic. Across every age group and country, reports of loneliness and social isolation are increasing. It's not just older adults. Adolescents, young professionals, and even people in long-term relationships describe feeling deeply alone. In one global survey, more than 1 in 4 adults reported feeling lonely most or all of the time. The pandemic only magnified it, but the trend started long before lockdowns. Urbanization, digital life, and shifting family structures have quietly eroded the networks that used to hold us together. The shared rituals, the unplanned moments, the steady presence of community. What's striking is that loneliness and social isolation aren't the same thing. Social isolation is the objective state of having few social contacts or limited interaction. Loneliness is the subjective feeling of disconnection, the gap between the relationships we have and the ones we wish we had. You can live alone and feel complete, or be in a crowd and feel empty. Loneliness doesn't just live in the mind, it imprints on the body. Research cited by the WHO and Verywell Mind shows that chronic loneliness increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, dementia, and depression. It weakens the immune system, elevates stress hormones, and disrupts sleep. The reason lies deep in our evolutionary wiring. Human beings evolved in groups, for safety, for warmth, for survival. Our brains treat social separation as a threat. When we feel lonely, the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for detecting danger, lights up. Cortisol rises. Our vigilance increases. The body moves into subtle fight-or-flight mode, even when nothing is wrong. Over time, this constant low-grade alertness wears us down. It creates what psychologists call social pain, which activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. Loneliness literally hurts. If we're more connected than ever before, why are we lonelier? Part of the answer lies in the quality of our connections. Digital interactions often replace, rather than supplement, real contact. Social media gives the illusion of closeness while reinforcing comparison, envy, and self-presentation. But loneliness isn't just about technology. It's also shaped by how we relate to ourselves. When we carry unresolved shame, anxiety, or fear of rejection, we unconsciously hold others at arm's length. We long for connection, but we also protect ourselves from the vulnerability it requires. Verywell Mind draws a distinction between loneliness and solitude. Solitude can be nourishing. It's chosen, reflective, restorative. Loneliness, by contrast, feels imposed. It carries a sense of lack. The difference often comes down to whether we feel at home within ourselves. Solitude becomes loneliness when self-connection falters. Beyond psychological and social loneliness lies something deeper: existential loneliness. Inner balance. Counseling defines this as the fundamental awareness that we are, at some level, alone in our existence. That no one else can live our life, think our thoughts, or face our death. This kind of loneliness is universal. It's not a symptom of dysfunction, but a condition of being human. Even the most loving relationships can't dissolve it entirely, because it arises from the gap between our finite selves and the infinite world we inhabit. Many people encounter existential loneliness in moments of transition, after loss, illness, or major life change. These moments strip away the distractions that normally keep us feeling continuous with others. What remains is a raw, direct encounter with our own existence. It can feel terrifying, but in many spiritual and philosophical traditions, this encounter is also seen as a doorway. When we face existential loneliness without running, it can awaken compassion, depth, and a clearer sense of what truly matters. The good news is that loneliness isn't permanent. The same neuroplasticity that allows loneliness to wire itself in can also help us rewire for connection. Studies show that even small, intentional acts, greeting a neighbor, volunteering, or simply making time to call a friend, can reduce feelings of isolation. The WHO emphasizes community-based interventions like shared housing, mentorship programs, and intergenerational projects, which restore a sense of belonging. On the individual level, psychologists recommend practices that build emotional resilience, mindfulness, gratitude, and self-compassion. These help quiet the inner critic that often deepens loneliness by convincing us we're unworthy of connection. And crucially, there's evidence that helping others can be one of the fastest ways to reduce loneliness. Compassion activates the same brain regions associated with connection and reward. When we reach out to ease someone else's pain, we momentarily forget the illusion of separateness and remember that we are part of something larger. There's a paradox at the heart of loneliness. The more we resist it, the stronger it becomes. When we try to escape loneliness through distraction or constant social activity, we often end up feeling emptier. But when we turn toward it, when we listen to it, loneliness can reveal what's missing, not in our relationships, but in our relationship with life itself. Existential loneliness in this sense is not an error in the system. It's a signal pointing us back to authenticity, meaning, and interdependence. It reminds us that we can't truly connect with others until we've learned to meet ourselves with presence. As the philosopher Paul Tillich put it, loneliness expresses the pain of being alone. Solitude expresses the glory of being alone. Both belong to the human story. Learning to hold them together, to be alone without being abandoned, is one of the quiet triumphs of maturity. So how do we begin? Start small. Reach out to one person you trust. Spend time in nature, the original community that never excludes us. Practice noticing moments of connection you already have, however brief. If loneliness feels heavy, remember that it's not a personal failure. It's a universal condition made worse by the way our societies are structured, but it can be healed through awareness, courage, and small daily acts of care. And on the deepest level, when we stop trying to escape loneliness and begin to inhabit it consciously, something extraordinary happens. What once felt like emptiness becomes spaciousness. The same silence that frightened us becomes the ground of peace. That's when loneliness transforms, not by being solved, but by being understood. Loneliness is a teacher, not an enemy. It shows us where we've lost touch with ourselves, with others, and with the living world. And in listening to it, we discover something that no amount of social media or noise can replace. The quiet, steady heartbeat of connection that was there all along. Thanks for spending time here today. If this stirred something in you, let it breathe. Maybe send this to someone who needs to know they're not alone. Until next time, take care and keep practicing presence.